Derek is a leadership consultant, business psychologist and executive coach for more than 12 years. He's obviously a father to 2 children, a husband to a wife who sits with us right here and knows a thing or two about how to manage time. It's something that we're all desperate to try and do, Derek, in our ever-increasingly busy lives. How on earth do you do it, though?
Well, so there's 300 pages in the book, right, explaining how to do it, but I understand you want a little snippet,
if you
right?
could, if you
I don't know how long have I got, about half an hour? 2 minutes?
About half a minute.
Yeah, so, you know, I think there are several things that you can do. The first thing is you have to recognise what's going on, which is that for the first time in 1,000 generations, because for 1,000 generations since we first started walking around in the savannah in Africa, human beings have had to fill space. Right, that we've had limited space. And then in the last generation, we've gone to a situation where we have to create space because there's so much stuff bombarding us all the time.
And by space, you mean
information
time?
demands. It's not just time, it is time, but it's also energy, it's about a mindset. So it's that moment of thinking, I've got so much to do, I'm running to the next thing before I've even thought about this thing, and then I've got those things tomorrow. And this is true. I mean, I work with big business people, but to be honest, it's as relevant to someone who's trying to hold down a part-time job, deal with the kids, got an elderly relative, you know, trying to do up the house, you know, and make things tidy and nice, than it is to the chief executive of Barclays. You know, that pressure we're all under. And my argument is that, first of all, you have to stop and recognise it. And then you have to consciously, every day, be thinking, how can I push back against this and create a bit of space for myself? There's about 50 ways of how to do that.
Is the main problem that because we're all on smartphones now, that's just a constant invasion of distractions on our energy?
It is. I mean, I think smartphones can be too criticised, right? Because actually, Facebook, for example, I think is an amazing way of staying in touch with old friends. And I know about school friends who I would have completely lost touch with, and I could tell you their kids' birthdays, you know, so it's a great thing. But I think the problem is we have to set boundaries and create space, right? So one idea that a friend of mine had was to have a digital Shabbat, right, which is like the Sabbath for Jews, where traditional Orthodox Jews won't use energy, they won't work, they won't, right? The idea that on a Friday at 6 o'clock, your phone goes off, right?
Already I'm panicking.
Right, now, you are panicking. Why are you panicking?
Because someone might be trying to get in touch on a Friday at 6 o'clock.
So in most towns, you can get a second-hand phone, like an old phone, like a Nokia phone that just rings, right, and basic text for about 25 quid on and then do pay-as-you-go.
Right.
So if you were concerned about children or your mum having to contact you, you could have that on the coffee table.
Yeah.
But you see, you're not using your phone at the weekend to take emergency calls. You're using your phone to check Facebook, to check Twitter, to email people, to say hello, to text, to do WhatsApp, right? And the problem is you only have... I've got a little camera in your... We won't get into that. But, you know, you're using it to keep yourself occupied.
Yeah,
right? And the truth is, you're only then half there. I mean, I was in a cafe the other day, and there was a kid on a smartphone filming away, and the dad said, you know, I think you need to put your phone down and just concentrate on eating your sandwich. But the dad was on his he put his phone down to say that and then picked it up again.
You're right, you're right.
You were very instrumental, Derek, in Tony Blair's government, and I'm intrigued by the idea of politicians finding time and actually managing time.
He also, most days, got home to... be with his kids for tea, right? And I remember I set up an organisation for Tony Blair, and I slaved... I'm talking about creating space and trying to be more efficient. I slaved away on this PowerPoint, you know, presentation, 20 pages, all sorts of detail. I took it round to him. I had to go to his house. We sat in the garden, and he made me a cup of tea. I gave him the thing. He didn't even look at it. I put it down on the table, and then he asked me a few questions and then said, yep, let's do it. You know, so there was a way of freeing himself to make decisions quickly and easily that Tony Blair had that a lot of politicians don't have.
The catastrophic error that was made over intelligence on weapons of mass destruction has left... I mean, it's tarnished his legacy. Whatever you might think of Tony Blair, people totally blame him for that. And it means that when he comes out and tries to campaign against Brexit, you know, he's cut off at the knees because of that mistake. And we have this crisis of trust now. When Theresa May says, we know it was the Russians what did the poisoning, people still say, really? Yeah. Don't know. I mean, in your sort of, as you look back, do you just think that was just the biggest political mistake?
Well, I think it was a mistake, but I also think that Tony Blair didn't intentionally lie. I think he convinced himself that he believed it, which we do, right, in our daily lives. We want something so much that we grab onto... In psychology, it's called confirmation bias. You grab on the things that support your view, right?
And you hope that your leaders are intelligent enough and strong-minded enough not to do that.
Yeah, and by the way, the book is based around 12 stories of really senior business leaders that I've worked with. So, as I said, it's relevant to everybody, but the stories are about those type of people. And
cleverly brought back to the book, I noticed, Derek.
There you go. One of the... I used to be a spin doctor. One of the lessons of the book is leaders are just like us. Right? So we can hope that our leaders are somehow magical and powerful and ultra-intelligent, but they're not, right? They're just like us and they will make mistakes. Now, I think, to come back to your question, just because they made one mistake 10 years ago doesn't necessarily mean we shouldn't believe them ever, right?
Unless you think the consequences of that mistake were so catastrophic.
Well, they were, and I agree with you, but, you know, I don't think the conclusion is, you know, we feel we were lied to 10 years ago, so now everything's a lie.
Yeah.
Right? Well, maybe it isn't.
Yeah.
Now, one of the things that we know very well is your wife. And
What are the things?
Is she here?
One of the elements.
What are the objects?
one of the more important facets of your life, you know very well, is your wife. Have you tried to help her, Derek, with her time-space management?
Because she's always busy. Always busy.
There isn't much space in Kate's life.
Kate can speak for herself, right? But
of course, you're a guru, though, Derek. This is what you do professionally.
I think that naturally, I am the type of person, and I'm probably why I wrote a book about it, who likes to plan, who likes to pause, who likes to think. You know, I sort of naturally try and create space for me. Maybe to the extent where I'm a little bit selfish, actually, right?
Oh, really?
No. What?
He said that live on television. He can't go back there.
That's evidence!
You told me if I came on, she wouldn't be allowed to speak.
Nobody told you that.
But Kate is not like that, right? Kate, you're right, rushes around, she does the thing that's demanding. She's more of a people pleaser than me. You know, a big part of the book is, if you want to create space, you've got to learn to say no, right? You've got to say, look, I'd love to do that, but I can't. And actually, what tends to happen is people go, OK, I'll do it. You totally underestimate how long it's going to take, right, and how much energy it's going to take, and you end up feeling overwhelmed. And the only way out of that, really, is to start saying no to yourself and to other people. Kate finds that a lot harder than me.
Yes, I do. Although, actually, you have helped me in lots of ways. Like, I will say, obviously, he's not brilliant at general housework and things like that. You're very tidy, but you don't really load dishwashers. But what you
Where is the dishwasher?
Somewhere in the kitchen.
OK.
You don't need to go there.
Yeah.
You don't need to go there. Yeah, I'm here, exactly, well done. But what you do is you say, don't just say, I need help. Give me specific tasks. And actually, I think sometimes when we ask for help from people, we're not specific enough about what we need, because you need to have things to interpret. And that's one of the things I learned from your book, that if you want help, be specific.
It's like a pincer attack, this on the book,
It
isn't
is,
it? From this side and that side.
Sorry.
But in our house, I definitely work better.
You're just hoping he's made me tidier, haven't you? That's what you want.
No, I work better to direction as well. I talk about that with Annie all the time. If you want me to specifically, then just point me. You know.
Well, the book's in 4 parts. I won't keep going on about it, but one of them is about connecting and communicating, right, which is vital. On my website, derekdraper.net, there's a survey.
That's brilliant.
Why are you laughing? There's a survey. It's free. There's a survey that anyone can take. You can just download it, which has 20 questions and basically allows you to work out how much space you've got and how much space you want and how you could get more space.